friends, my name is Naomi. Welcome back to my channel. So today I am attempting to start a reading vlog. I just noticed that my books are in frame. I'm going to attempt to start a reading vlog that is actually going to be my first one that ever is going to take place in like a couple of months, because I usually will pick out all of my books and read them like during a week or 2 weeks and then upload the video and that's that. But I feel like this one I just can't do that. And I'll explain why. So if you saw the title of this video, I'm going to be attempting to complete all of my book of the month reading challenges. So I've never ever hit any of these challenges, and I think I've had the book of the month subscription since like 2020, and I did cancel it and freeze it at points. If you don't know, book of the month is a super popular monthly book subscription, and they have just very popular books. Sometimes they have early releases and stuff like that, and on their app they actually have this reading challenge that I never really took, like I never really noticed it until I saw people with like these book of the month tote bags and stuff, and I didn't know that you could win one by getting by doing the reading challenge. And that is not why I'm doing this. The reason why I'm doing this, to be completely honest, is that there are like these little rings on the app and it bothers me that they're not complete. So this is why I'm doing this video. So I'm gonna go on the app and kind of talk to you through like the challenges and stuff and all of my picks and all of that. So here we are. So I will put a picture on the screen because I don't want to be like showing you, but the 2022 reading challenges are to read 12 books is the first one, the debut darling, which is just reading debut novels that they choose as their picks, and then the page pusher, which is like a long book. And then it says unlock a bonus badge. So I'm assuming once I complete all of these badges, there will be an opportunity for me to complete even more badges. So we'll see how this video goes, and if you guys enjoy it, I can do it again. But I believe it just says like it's literally just bragging rights, and then supposedly there's like a surprise, and I think that's how people win like that tote bag, like the blue famous book of the month tote bag. But I honestly don't know because I've never completed one of these, so I wouldn't know. So 2020 reading challenges were a little different, not really. It was the same 12 books, and I actually on 2020 I read 4 out of 12 books, book of the month picks, and then the genre genie, which was reading 5 different genres, and I did 4 out of 5. And then the last one was the same, which was the debut darling, and I read 1 debut out of 3. And then for the year 2021 I read 7 out of 12 books, 6 out of 5 genres, and 1 out of 3 debuts. And then for this year 2022 I have read 7 out of 12 books so far, 3 out of 3 debuts, so I don't have to read any more, and then 1 page pusher, which is a long book, which I believe in terms of book of the month is just a book that's 400 and plus pages. So I'm actually looking through the app and I just hit on the page pusher, and there were like some recommendations, and the first one happens to be The It Girl by Ruth Ware, and I just clicked on it, and I guess I could like click on it and say that I've read it and maybe it would count it, but I'm not gonna do it because I didn't pick that as a book of the month pick, so we're not gonna do that. But I guess that could be a possibility. I didn't know that you could do that. And to complete this challenge I have to read 1 book out of these that is 400 and plus pages, and then I have to read 5 of these books, and like I just said, I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So I'm gonna show all of the 8 books. There are some books that I'm more interested in reading than others, but yeah, I'm just gonna go through them. I'm gonna try to mood read as best as I can, and like I said, I have to read 5 books, and I don't want to force myself to read all of these 5 books during like the next couple of weeks just to get a video out. So I'm gonna read whatever I feel like it, and I'm gonna pick up the vlog as I go. I will give a timeline also. Like today is July 29th, so this would be starting in the month of August. So the first pick that I have, we're kind of going like back in time, so like this is the most recent pick of book of the month, I believe. So I have Darling Girl by Liz Michalski, and this is a Peter Pan retelling. Very dark Peter Pan retelling. Obviously like a little bit of magical realism in there. Haven't heard great things, so this is one of the books that I'm not as excited to read, but kind of want to try it, but we'll see what happens. The next one that I have is a book that I really want to read, so this will be read for this video, and that is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. And also I have to read this pretty much because this is one of the only books that is 400 plus pages from my picks, so this will probably complete the page pusher challenge. That is such a tricky sentence for me to say with my accent. But Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow pretty much follows these two students that are in college. I believe their names were like Sadie and Sam, and they are in Harvard, I believe, and they designed this like video game, and I'm assuming that they just rise in fame from this video game, and it just follows their lives and like how it affects them. I'm really excited. This honestly is giving me like Evelyn Hugo vibes, but like video game, so I'm really excited to read this, and I've heard nothing but amazing things. So yeah, and also I adore this cover so much. The next book that I have is Trubis by Sarah Novick, and this one pretty much follows this group of students from the school called River Valley School, and they are deaf students, and they're pretty much just standing up for their rights and kind of telling politicians and doctors and all of these people to not like tell them what to do with their body. In college and in high school I took American Sign Language, and I still to this day want to get my certificate to become an interpreter someday. I've learned a lot about the deaf community and deaf culture and everything, so I'm excited to see how like what happens in this book. And from what I know, I don't think that the author is deaf. I do think that she has a degree in deaf studies though. So I'm actually really curious as to what the deaf community also thinks about this book, but I'm excited to read this one also, and this is supposedly becoming a movie, so I'm excited about that as well. The next one that I have is The Golden Couple by Greer, Hendricks, and Sarah Pekannen, and this one pretty much follows this couple that is just going through a rough time, and they start seeing like a couples therapist, and I'm assuming that this couple therapist like just gets more involved than she has to. It's a thriller. I don't really know much else about what's like the plot or anything, but it sounds pretty much like a domestic type thriller. The next one that I have is The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. I do believe this also could potentially, no it doesn't. I thought this could count as a page pusher. I don't know why that's so hard for me to say. I thought this could count for it also, but it doesn't hit 400 plus pages, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Yeah, but this one again is another thriller. I feel like whenever I don't know what to pick for book of the month, I always go for the thriller pick, so this is another thriller. I believe it's like a dual timeline, cold cases, like an investigator type of story. Excited to read this, but also haven't heard great things, so I don't know. I did read The Broken Girls by Simone St. James, which was like a 3-star for me. I didn't love that book, but I am willing to give this a try. The next one that I have is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I was so stoked for this book, and I don't know what happened. I just never picked it up. I loved The Guest List by Lucy Foley. It has very similar structure with a whole bunch of different characters that have very specific tropes, like the socialite and the nice guy and the alcoholic and the girl on the verge and the concierge and the neighbor and all of that. So I'm excited to read it because I love The Guest List so much, but again, I haven't heard great things, and I feel like I'm one of those people that I'm so easily influenced that's why I didn't pick this up, because I've heard so much about how other people didn't like this book, so I was like, I'll read it later, and then I never did. But my friend Kat from Book to Beginning said, please read it, so maybe I will for this video. Alright, last two picks. So I have The Magnolia Palace by Fiona Davis. I picked this up because this is a historical fiction. It's set in New York in the Spanish flu outbreak of 1919. It's set in this palace, but I believe when it says Magnolia Palace, it's kind of like a hotel type of location. I'm I'm hoping that this gives me like all of the Downton Abbey vibes because I love that so much. But yeah, it's historical fiction. I don't know much about it because again, I haven't heard many people talk about this book, to be honest. But yeah, hopefully I do enjoy this one. And then the last book that I have is The Maid by Nita Prose, which I can't believe that I haven't read this yet. And this one's pretty much like a funny, dark humor thriller, maybe? No, it's a mystery. Let's be real. It's a mystery. It's not a thriller. And it's pretty much about this maid, and she's super quirky and stuff, and she finds a dead body in a hotel room, and they're blaming her for it because I guess she's like a little bit different. She doesn't really have like many social cues, and she's just a little bit of a different type of person. So they're blaming her, and I'm assuming that she's going to start trying to figure out who committed this crime so she can clear her name. And yeah, those are all of the books. Like I said, I'm going to start this in the month of August, which will be in like 2 days from now. But from the books that I'm seeing right now, I think I'm gonna be starting with The Maid because like I said, I can't believe that I haven't read this yet. So I'll keep you posted, and yeah, I will see you in a couple days. Hi friends, so I wanted to do a little update. I started with The Maid by Nita Prose. I am currently halfway through, and I think to keep this video kind of concise and not too long, I'm going to do updates when I'm halfway through and when I finish the book. So like I said, started with The Maid by Nita Prose, and I'm really liking this book. This is giving me like all of the cozy mystery type of vibes, and I'm just really liking it. It kind of reminds me of Finlay Donovan is Killing It by El Casimano. It's nothing like it, but it still reminds me of it because of the humor of it. So I can't remember if I've said what this book is about, but basically it's about this maid. Her name is Molly the maid, and she's really cute. She was raised by her grandmother, and her grandmother recently passed away, and her grandmother was very old school. So Molly herself is very old school and also doesn't have a lot of like social cues. So she's a bit of a weird person, I guess, but I love reading from her perspective. I think it's so interesting and different from any other book that I've read recently, so I'm really enjoying it. And like I said, she's a maid. I don't think they really said it on the book, but it seems like she may have like OCD, because she's very like clean and organized, and she can't like talk or say things unless she finishes something. Like that has been kind of touched upon, but they haven't really said like upright that she has OCD, so this is just me assuming, to be honest. But basically, Molly finds a dead body in one of the hotel rooms, and they're blaming her for it because she is a little bit different. Obviously there's a whole bunch of other plot and things in there, but I don't want to give too much away. But yeah, I'm really loving it. Like I said, I'm halfway through this, and when I finish it, I'll let you know my thoughts. And yeah. Also, just for video and timeline purposes, today's August 1st. I actually started this past weekend, so I think I started this July 27th, just for timeline purposes and all of that. And this weekend, I didn't really read it very much because I was doing things every day. On Friday, I was doing karaoke. On Saturday, I had a Twilight movie night with my friends, and then on Sunday there was a little farewell party for my friend who's moving to Chicago, so I wasn't able to read very much, but I am loving and enjoying this so far. Alright, hi friends. So today's literally the same day that I gave my update when I was halfway through The Maid, and I actually just finished this earlier today. So I'm gonna be giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. I'm actually gonna go on the app later, and maybe I'll throw a little screen recording on the screen of like rating it and just seeing that little number for the challenge for like the goal on Book of the Month app. Just see it go up and see that ring almost full. But yeah, I think I'm going to be giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. It was very cozy mystery type book. I definitely will say if you like Finlay Donovan is Killing It, you will like this book. I think my favorite thing about this book was the point of view. Our main character, Molly the maid, is just such like a refreshing character. I've never read any character like Molly before. I did mention like some of her quirks and stuff like that in the halfway check-in. I will say this mystery wasn't very like surprising or shocking. I feel like you kind of just learned everything as you went, so there weren't any like big twists or like reveals or anything like that, which is kind of like within the cozy mystery genre. And there was like a twist or like a shocking thing that happened that I wasn't expecting it to happen. But that doesn't mean that I liked it. I think at the beginning of the book I was thinking 5 stars, and towards like a little bit after, like maybe at the 70% mark, I was like, maybe this is a 4 star, only because there were some kind of shocking type things, but like I wasn't loving those, but I can't really talk about them because they will be spoilers. But yeah, I'm gonna end up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. It is August 6th and I am sitting in the parking lot of a Walgreens because they open around 8 a.m. and I got here a little bit too early. I'm just grabbing a couple things for my boyfriend because he is sick. So I'm gonna go grab him a medicine ball at Starbucks and some few things from Walgreens. But as I'm waiting, I figured I would give an update because I am halfway through the Magnolia Palace. So I'm sorry that I don't have it in front of me. Like I said, I was just in the car and I found some free time and I don't have much to do. So I figured I would just give an update. So like I said, today's Saturday, August 6th. And tomorrow, obviously, it's August 7th, Sunday. And tomorrow is the start of Jan's full moon readathon. And this book is not part of that TBR. So I'm either going to have to finish it today or take a break for a week from it. So I'm hoping I can finish it today because it's becoming a really fairly quick read. So yeah, I am enjoying the Magnolia Palace. So I talked very briefly about what this book's about in like the intro of the video when I went through my TBR, but pretty much this is a historical fiction and I thought this palace was like a hotel, but no, it's just like a mansion where this like really rich people lived in. And this book is set in 2 different timelines, which I'm really enjoying, but we'll get to that in a minute. But one of the timelines is set in the 1920s and the other timeline is set in the 1960s. It's a bit confusing because both of the POVs from these timelines, they're both models, and like their wish for both of these women is to like come across some big money so they can like go to Hollywood or like just not have to work the job they do now. So in the 1920s perspective, she is a maid and she is trying to come across this money. Like things happen, I can't really give too much away, but there's this thing that happens and she's promised all of this money and she wants to have all this money in order to go to Hollywood and make a good impression. She was like a risque type model, like back in those days, like just posing like in your underwear, anything like that made you like a bad person, I guess, back in those days. So she has to go like under a different name and all of that. So now she works at this Magnolia Palace, and in the 1920s like perspective, she's like the main maid for the daughter of the family, the rich family, and she's helping this young daughter get married because the father promised the maid a lot of money if his daughter gets married by a specific amount of time. So it feels kind of like, what's that one movie, 10 Things I Hate About You? It feels like a little bit of like a bet type trope, which is really weird because it's set in the 1920s, but I'm enjoying it. And then in the 1960s as well is this woman who is a model and she's trying to come across this money because she's struggling, and it follows her in the 1960s in that same palace where she's like shooting a photo shoot, and she comes across these like clues from like a scavenger hunt, and then you see in the 1920s like the scavenger hunt and the people that created the scavenger hunt and what the price is and all that. It's a weird plot, timeline, and things. It does get a bit confusing because they're both kind of like, they both have like the same profession and they're both like after the same things, which is like money. So yeah, I am enjoying it. It's a bit different from anything that I've read before recently. But yeah, that is my halfway update check-in about the Magnolia Palace. And I'll let you know when I'm done. You might not see me for a week. You won't even notice here. But yeah, hopefully I'm done with this today, or I'll get it done after the full moon readathon. Hi Hi friends, good morning. Happy August 8th. So I wanted to come on here and update that this past weekend I actually finished The Magnolia Palace by Fiona Davis. I was going to very confidently just say my rating, and I honestly can't even remember what I gave it on Goodreads because I was in between like 3 and 4. So let me check. Okay, so on Goodreads I ended up giving this a 3-star. I think it was definitely between 3 and 4 stars, so like 3.5, but like it wasn't as good to give it a 4-star on Goodreads. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so like I mentioned in the previous clip, this one goes in between 2 POVs and 2 timelines. So in the 1920s and then the 1960s, it follows this palace, and I was really intrigued by like the scavenger hunt, and there was like a little bit of a mystery, but towards the end I think it focused too much on like this little mystery intrigue thing that it had going on, and it just wasn't really good. Like this isn't a mystery novel to me, it was more of historical fiction. So I was going for more of like the dramatic like drama, Downton Abbey, Evelyn Hugo type of vibes, but it kind of went more in the route of like a cozy mystery, if that makes any sense. It was really weird because I went into this thinking it was historical fiction, and for most of the book, like 75% of it, it was a historical fiction novel, but then at the end it just focused so much on this mystery, and it felt like endings of cozy mysteries or like mystery novels in general, when they're trying to figure out like what happened, and like there's like the trope where they go visit someone from like the past, like an old lady or something. But yeah, it just kind of went in that direction towards the end, and it's not what I wanted from it. I wanted very much like City of Girls, like this huge timeline, and then just kind of intertwining like storylines and like relationships and stuff, but I didn't care for like the little mystery they had going on. I didn't think it would be as important as it came out to be, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna be giving this a 3 out of 5 stars. I did like it, it was okay, but yeah, it kind of lost me, and I feel like this is one of those books that I will forget in a little bit, so yeah. Hi friends, so today is August 20th, and I feel like it's been a while since I've updated this book of the month vlog, but I wanted to update y'all of the new book that I'm reading. So it's over there, I don't feel like picking it up, but I actually started The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, and I DNF'd this after like I think maybe 50 to 80 pages. I found it really confusing and I wasn't very intrigued, so I decided to put it down. And then now the next book of the month book that I'm reading is The Golden Couple by Greer, Hendricks, and Pekannen. I was really nervous because I haven't heard great things about The Golden Couple or just this like author duo in general, but I'm honestly really enjoying this book. It's really intriguing. So I'm already halfway through this book, and pretty much this book follows this married couple, and they start doing like couples therapy. And pretty much the lady, like the reason why they get in there is because the lady cheated on her husband, and her husband didn't know until the first appointment. And then also there is like a story with the therapist because she has very unconventional methods. So she actually doesn't even have like her license to practice therapy anymore, so I don't really know how. I'm assuming it's like an independent thing that she does separately, but I'm not even sure if that's legal. But she still is practicing it, and she has like this method of like 10 sessions, and by the end of like these 10 sessions, like all of their problems are going to be resolved. But she has like very extreme methods, I guess. And yeah, this book is told in 2 points of view. So basically the wife who cheated on her husband, and then also the therapist. And you just learn a lot. There's a lot of secrets, and there's like little reveals along the way. This is very much a domestic thriller though, so if you're not into those type of books, this isn't the one for you. But I'm really enjoying this. I feel like I haven't really read a domestic thriller before, and I'm enjoying this one for sure. Something that I'm also really enjoying about this book is that when you see the point of view of the therapist, you've been learning a lot about her story herself, and then also how she lost her license, and then you also learn about the other patients that she has along with this couple that she's treating, I guess. So you see a lot of different information. I'm hoping that it all kind of ties up together at the end, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm already halfway through this, and when I'm done with this, I'll let you know how I like it. Hi friends, so I am filming back-to-back clips because I'm currently in the middle of a reading vlog, like a random 2-day reading vlog. But anyway, during that reading vlog, I ended up finishing The Golden Couple by Greer, Hendricks, and Pekannen. I give a little bit of my thoughts on there, but I didn't want to go into too much depth because obviously I'm filming a whole other book of the month reading vlog. So like I said, I finished this last night and I ended up giving this a 3 out of 5 stars. So like I mentioned earlier, like in the last update, I was really enjoying this. I was very intrigued. I liked the points of views and all of the intrigue and stuff. And usually, even if I saw like the twist coming or it wasn't that shocking, I'll still give the book like 4 out of 5 stars because I liked the reading experience. But this one, like the twist was so bad. Like I did not like it at all, to be completely honest. It was like, I felt like with all of the little like hints and like the breadcrumb that it was leaving, I think like the authors could have done so much more, and it was just really disappointing. So yeah, I'm gonna be giving this a 3 out of 5, but honestly I feel like this is one of those books that like I'm gonna forget completely what happened in this, and like it'll go down in rating over time. But it was okay. I mean, I can see why Book of the Month picked it. Like, it was really intriguing. And for some people, like, if they enjoyed the twist, then this is an amazing book. But I really didn't. It was just so underwhelming for me. And then once again, I'm taking a little break from this Book of the Month reading vlog because this weekend is a 24-hour horror-a-thon. And then also after that is the Upside Down readathon, the Stranger Things themed readathon that I'm hosting. And I do think that I have one Book of the Month book on that TBR, but I'm not too sure yet if I'm gonna be able to get to it. So we'll see, and I'll keep you updated. Hello, Book of the Month vlog. Today is September 12th, and I just got back from my trip from Boston / Martha's Vineyard trip, and I read I started and finished one Book of the Month book that I'm going to talk about in a minute, and then I started another Book of the Month book, and I'm halfway through it, so I want to talk about those books right now. So if you didn't know, I just hosted a readathon called the Upside Down Readathon, and one of the prompts was to read a book with a competition or game element. So originally I had All of Us Villains on that TBR, but I started the audiobook and I wasn't really vibing with it, so instead I picked up one of my most anticipated books of the year, and that is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, obviously a Book of the Month copy. And I thought that this would take me like the rest of the readathon to read, and I probably read this in like 2 days-ish. So I'm sorry that I didn't do like an initial halfway through type of clip and then one when I was done, but I just like read it all the way through. I honestly thought that I'd have the time, but once I was halfway through this book, I was in Boston and there was just so much going on that I forgot to do the clip, and then I ended up finishing it while I was still in Boston. It was such a nice experience. I feel like, yeah, but let me get into my thoughts. So I did pick this one because it does have a game element, and that is video games. So this book follows these two young people, Sam and Sadie, and they meet in a hospital for many different reasons and they become friends. But from the beginning of the book, you know that they have like a big falling out and they argue a lot, but they do love each other a lot. And this book, like, I just loved it so much. This book was like for me a mix of like Daisy Jones and the Six and My Dark Vanessa, and I remember comparing this to one other book, Normal People by Sally Rooney. It's like that romance kind of, with the dark tone of My Dark Vanessa and the elements of like in Daisy Jones and the Six, that this follows them like throughout their whole lives, since like their children all the way up into like, not their whole lives, but all the way up into like the 30s and 40s. And it's such a sad, dark tone book, but like I loved it. I ate this up. And basically they're just two best friends that make video games together, but obviously with that comes like having a business together and all of this creative stuff and a lot of talks about life, and I just really love this book. This is probably like one of my favorite books of the year so far, and I honestly have never read anything else by Gabrielle Zevin before, but I can't wait to read the story life of AJ Fickery and all her other stuff because I loved this book so much. I know that Jordan from Sorry Book Solid did not enjoy this one because it's so sad, but I feel like I never cried though. I will say I never cried reading this book, but I did feel for the characters so much, and I feel like in this book there's so much building up and getting to know these characters, so when any little thing happens to them you feel for them so much, and the things that happen to these characters, they're not little things, so you do get to feel a lot from this book. But I also, I mean, I haven't read A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, whatever, sorry I'm saying their name wrong but I don't remember. But yeah, there's like sad things in here, but I feel like they have a purpose. I know that book, A Little Life, supposedly it's supposed to be like really sad stuff just for a shock factor, and this one, it really seemed like it was for the purpose of the story, obviously. I'm gonna put on the screen the little screen recordings that I've been doing, adding my books to the Book of the Month app. You will see my boyfriend's beautiful face in it because we were on a FaceTime while I was doing it, and I didn't vlog for the rings, but once I put in the tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, this counted for the page pusher, which is the book over 400 pages long. So I completed that challenge, and now to be able to finish with this, I just have to read one more book for Book of the Month. So while I was in Boston, I did take a lot of books with me, and there was another prompt for the Upside Down Readathon, which was to read a book with lights on the cover. So I started the Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James in Boston, and I'm currently halfway through it, so I want to tell you what this is about and my feelings thus far. So the title is pretty self-explanatory. This book does have to do with like a cold case, or just cold cases in general. We follow this woman. She's in like her late 30s or early 30s, I don't know, she's in her 30s I think, and she's recently divorced. She has a lot of trauma, and this is set in 2017, and there's also a dual timeline that it's set in like the 1970s, and she is obsessed with true crime. She has her own blog which is called The Book of Cold Cases, and she's very much into that type of research. And one day at her job, this woman walks in, and she's very famous because she was accused of committing these murders that were similar to like the Zodiac killer, but female, like a lady. And she kind of goes after her and tells her like, can I interview you? And they start this relationship. So the 1970s timeline is the timeline of the woman who is being accused of these murders, and then the present timeline is our main character who is obsessed with true crime. They both have very like big traumas and stuff in their lives, and I can't wait to see how everything connects. I'm really enjoying this book. I will say I read The Broken Girls by Simone St. James, and I didn't enjoy that one as much as I am enjoying this one, but we'll see. It seems like this one's reminding me a little bit of The Turn of the Key, only because there is like kind of like a supernatural element being introduced, but you don't really know if it's like something supernatural happening or not, and I really do enjoy that in books. So it just depends on how the author plays with that and how the reveal and everything comes out. So we'll see how I like this, but I am flying through this. So this will be probably the last book that I read for this vlog. But I did pick some books for the month of September from the Book of the Month box, and I just wanted to show them to y'all. So I did get Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This is a romance, and honestly it didn't even cross my mind, but I think this is like a Little Mermaid retelling, and I had no idea. But I mean, it looks really cute. I remember Jess from Reading with Jess talking about this book, and it sounds really cute. Obviously, I think, as you guys may know, that I don't love romance all that much, so I don't have high expectations for this book, but I picked it up just because. And then I did choose as one of like the member faves Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson, and I picked this up because Noelle from Noelle Gallagher, she was talking about this book, and it has to do with like a sibling relationship, and I had just read Book Lovers by Emily Henry, and I loved the sibling relationship in that book, so I was really looking forward to something else like that. And I remember Noelle saying that this is multi-generational, so I'm really excited to read this one. And last but not least, I picked the historical fiction option from Book of the Month, and that is The Attic Child by Lola J. And this one has two dual timelines or perspectives, but they're separated by like a decade, and both of these people were like locked inside of an attic for some reason. I don't know why, but this is a historical fiction. It sounds super intriguing, and yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. So yeah, I think the next clip will probably be my thoughts from the Book of Cold Cases, and yeah, I guess I'll see you then. Hi friends, looking crazy per usual. So today is the day that I finished this video. So I'm about to give my thoughts on my last book for this video, and then I'm gonna go on the app and rate the book, add it to my reading challenge for the year, and then see what happens on the app. So yeah, like I mentioned, my last read was going to be the Book of Cold Cases. I just needed one more book to finish my reading challenge. It is also currently September 19th, so I don't know when I started this video, but I'm pretty sure it's been at least like a month or two since I started this. The initial review that I gave this book was halfway through. I was really enjoying it at the time. I do think that after like the halfway point, it kind of lost me completely. I wasn't really enjoying the second point of view, which was the past, like I forget what the timeline, in the 1970s. Wasn't really enjoying that one, and then after halfway through this book, that is the main point of view in this book, and I just wasn't really enjoying it, to be completely honest. I feel like similarly to The Broken Girls, the supernatural aspect in this book just wasn't it for me. And also, I'm pretty sure that like halfway through, like at 50%, you knew what was going on. So I feel like whenever that happens in mysteries and thrillers, like I feel like I need to be on the edge of my seat till the end of the book, and this kind of reveals really big stuff like very early on, so I kind of have trouble with those type of mysteries and thrillers. This one also tried to introduce a romance, and I'm not really a big fan of romance and mystery and thriller novels. So ultimately, I'm going to be giving this a 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't hate it. It was an okay time. I liked it, but I didn't love it, I guess. So yeah, I'm going to be giving this a 3 out of 5. So now I do want to go on the app. I'm going to screen record so you can see what I'm currently doing. 2, 1, and recording. So I'm gonna go on the Book of the Month app, and I'm going to add this last book. So go on my bookshelf. Let me see where she is. The Book of Cold Cases. So I'm gonna go with liked. I didn't love it, obviously, so I'm gonna submit that. And let's see what happens. Okay, so reward unlocked. You can pick one of the 3 options as a free prize in your next box. Okay, I don't know if I should be showing this. Pick now. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I get a magnet, socks, or a notepad. That's pretty cute. I don't know. No magnets, because the fridge in my house is not mine, it's my mom's. Socks or a notepad. I think I'm gonna have to go with the socks. They are so cute. I don't know, should I just pick this later? I'll pick it now. I'm gonna go with the socks. Pick as reward. Okay, and then do that later. But it looked like something else. Okay, so now there is a new ring, and it says Shelf Slayer, and I'm assuming it says 12 out of 24, so I'm assuming now the next challenge is to read 24 books by the end of the year, which means that I would have to read 12 more books that are Book of the Month picks in order to reach that. So maybe there's a part 2 of this video. Alright, so that's it, I guess. If you were curious to know what happens when you finish your reading challenge for book of the month, you just get more challenges. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see a part 2 where I try to read 12 more picks for book of the month, let me know in the comments below. But thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.